Folks, I am super excited today for this video. We have a battle of the blades for you of two classic mini Benchmades that have been redesigned in 2016. We have the mini Barrage coming in at you, and then we got the mini Griptilian coming in at you. Both of these knives have been redesigned with new handle material, new blade steels, and just have a lot to offer in the mini pocket knife arena. And on top of that, they're gonna run the exact same price. These guys are gonna run $153 each. So if you're sitting there and you're like, man, how do I judge what is gonna be the best setup for me? That's what I hope to do in this battle of the blades. Battle them out with the handle ergonomics, with the blade steels, with the blade profiles, with the pocket clips, so that at the end of the day, you can make a wise choice which one is better for your EDC system. So that's what we're gonna look at today. So let's go ahead and dive into this battle of the blades of the mini Benchmades. All right, blades on these two bad boys. This is going to be another big factor for you. Both blades have been upgraded in their steels. So I'm going to talk about steels before we talk about aesthetics and that type of thing, and which one I personally prefer. So the specs are actually exactly the same on blade length, 2.91, so just a hair under 3 inches for both blades, and they're both going to be 0.1 inches thick and then taper down with saber grinds. They will both have that. Now, the steel on the mini Griptilian is a phenomenal steel that I have recently begun to use on a couple knives, and I love it. It's CPM 20 CV, and this particular steel is extremely good at holding an edge and wear resistance, but extremely easy to put a razor hair popping edge back on it, and is rust resistant. So when you add all those things together, it really is becoming one of my favorite, particularly pocket knife steels. And I haven't had it in a fixed blade yet, but I've had it in a few pocket knives now, and I love it. So this edge on this mini grip is literally like thousands of times better than the 154cm version that the old models were. It is just so easy to get a hair popping edge on it, and then it just holds it for weeks, months, depending on how much you use your knife, and it doesn't chip. When it does dull, you just barely loses its edge, and then you can just bam, tune it right back up. I love the steel that they went with. I hope they begin to implement that more and more of their knives. Now, on the flip side, the old Barrage had 154cm as well, and I'm not bashing 154cm. It's still a good steel, but in comparison to these on the table, they both blow them out of the water in edge retention and tuning up capabilities. They upgraded it to CPM S30V steel on the Barrage. So it's not quite to the level of edge retention capability that I would say that the mini Griptilian has with the 20 CV, but it is very close in everything that I have seen, and they did a great job with the heat treat, and it's easy for me to tune up and to keep that good edge on there. So it's a close second in overall blade performance when we're talking about edge retention and tuning up capability, but the mini grip does have a leg up in overall edge retention and easy ease in which to tune up the knife. Now, finally, with the aesthetics, as you can see, the mini Griptilian kind of has that really piercing look with a little bit of a thumb ramp, a little bit of jimping, a sweep up, then sweep down with a good size clip there. Whereas the Barrage has kind of more of a fat, kind of pudgy look to it with a wider kind of clip on the back and kind of a snub nose here on the front. And so a lot of it is just aesthetically pleasing. You're looking at it on film and you can kind of decide. For me personally, I actually prefer the blade shape on the Barrage a little bit more than the Griptilian. It kind of reminds me of like a B-17 fighter, or excuse me, a B-17 bomber, or like a 45 ACP round, just kind of snub nose, boxy, but it's just powerful. And that's how I kind of feel like the Barrage is. And then the mini Griptilian is a little bit more piercing, a little bit more stealthy, a little bit more modern, narrow, maybe like a rifle round, or like a fighter jet of modern era, an F-15, if you will, or something like that. So not one is better than the other. Just aesthetically wise, I actually gravitate a little bit more to the blade shape of the mini Barrage, but both are amazing knives. I'm glad they upgraded the steel, and for EDC tasks of the 3-inch variety, these things are awesome. Ergonomics are another aspect that has been upgraded. The old versions were forms of molded plastic, and particularly with the mini Griptilian, it sounded really hollow, really cheap, and for the price you were paying, it was a little underwhelming, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. Well, that has changed, and we're going to look at the mini Barrage first. We're looking at overall length on the mini Barrage of 4 inches with a maximum thickness of 0.57, so just a hair over half an inch thick overall, and then it has been upgraded with G10 handle scales. So that's a big upgrade over the molded plastic stuff that they were used to be doing. And they've done this kind of gray, nice little kind of ribbing, and they've redone kind of the traction patterns on the Barrages. The old ones kind of had like a lot of circular cut-ins, and these do not. They just have some ribbing on the side there. And then not quite a flow-through construction. You have some back here, and then you got that spacer where the safety mechanism kind of hangs out. And you can just see there in my large-size hands, I wear large-size gloves, and I share that with you so you guys can get good proportion compared to your hands. All of my fingers are locked in there. Got a little bit of that guard, got a little bit of that ramp. I tend to, when I'm using it, put my thumb right there on the other side of that ramp and then go to town and do whatever kind of utility cutting task I may be doing, and it feels very comfortable and nice and full. The last thing is that it does have steel liners in here, and because of the spring mechanism, it will be the heavier of the two that we're looking at today, and it comes in at 3.76 ounces. So 3.75 basically ounces. So under 4, which is definitely good for this size range. A little bit on the heavy side compared to the mini Griptilian we're going to look at, but very doable still in the price range, the size, and the materials that we're looking at. So now on to the mini Griptilian. As I said earlier, the old versions were that kind of glass reinforced nylon. It was very cheap, very hollow feeling and sounding. That is not the case any longer. We now have gray G10, same color combination, basically that we get on the mini Barrage. The overall length is going to be shorter though. It's going to be 3.87 inches overall length, and it's going to be a 5.1 inches thick with that flow-through construction, pillar construction, and those blue liners in there. Very cool. Just give it a little bit of a pop and really make it a cool aesthetic look to the overall knife. That gray and blue, great offsets. Love that. And the weight on this, because of the lack of spring-loaded mechanisms, less handle material overall, and the flow-through construction, is going to be 2.9 ounces. So under 3 ounces, which is great for this, size and class, if you will. And they just did a really good job with that. Now, it is noticeably smaller to me in my hand than the Barrage. The Barrage fills out my hand a little bit more. I feel like I have a little bit more real estate where my pinky is. Now, it's still doable with this, and don't get me wrong, I use this regularly, my mini Griptilian. But when you were to ask me, hey, which one do you like better in your large size hands, I would say that the mini Barrage just tends to fill it out a little bit more, feel a little bit more comfortable. So that is something that you'll need to consider: size and hand capacity, the size of your hand, and then which handle do you feel will be better for the ergonomic overall performance that you're looking for in the knife. So as I said in the intro, both of these blades are going to run $153. Benchmade has a very tight margin of error that they allow companies to sell their knives at. So that's basically what you're going to find everywhere. We're going to have links in the description below over to Amazon. That's always a great way to help support the channel and keep us trucking on and doing what we're doing, is when you use the hyperlinks that we offer you. So we will have every version of the mini Griptilian. We'll have every version of the mini Barrage down on our links below. And for $153, I think that's a great price. They've upped the ante on the price point by about 50 bucks on the mini grip, and they've upped it by about, if I remember correctly, I think by about 30 bucks on the mini Barrage, which is not bad at all for the amazing steel you're getting with the mini grip, and then all the extra features, as well as the upgrade on the steel and the handle ergonomics and handle material on the Barrage. So I think that the price is there. I mean, if they had been charging maybe like $183, I would have been a little more like, come on, Benchmade, bring it down. But for 153 bucks, you're getting great steel, great performance, and a great name to go with it. So I think $153, if you got the money to burn, you're looking for that smaller sub 3-inch Benchmade, these things should be at the top of your list. And as we're discussing throughout this video, hopefully this video is helping you decide which one is battling it out for that hard-earned money that you guys are willing to throw down. Deployment and lockup. Now, the Mini Barrage is an assisted opening knife, so there's going to be a big difference between these two blades. And depending on kind of what you gravitate to, are you more of an open assisted person or are you more of a manual person? That will dictate a lot in your choice of which will be the better blade for you. But just to walk through here, these are going to have the exact same style thumb studs. Each one of them, just one is silver on silver or satin on satin with the mini grip. And then we have blacked out studs on the Barrage. They're both really well designed. They're easy to grab. They're not going to tear up your pockets or your thumbs when you engage them and use them. They're very easy to purchase. So great, no issues at all with that. Now, when we go to the Barrage, you just hit that and the spring takes over and will thrust out the rest of the blade for you, spring it open for you. It's a very good, solid spring assist. It is the very first open-assisted knife from Benchmade that I've owned, and I'm very pleased with it. It's very strong, very capable, very reliable. This is the thing to note, and we have a very solid lockup. I did want to mention that as well. With that axis lock, zero play, left, right, or up and down. Very, very solid, good lockup. And it does have a locking feature that you see right here. I can engage that little lock, and it doesn't get in the way at all. You can see it right there. And I actually cannot disengage the lock to close it. And vice versa, if I close the blade and I engage it, it will not open in my pocket. For those of you who care about that, it's very, you have to think about what you're doing to engage it, so it's not going to accidentally be engaged or disengaged in your pocket. Where you put it, it will stay, and it's not an issue or a distraction for me at all. It doesn't bother me that that's there. The thing to note is that when it is open, you cannot, like with the manual versions of Benchmade's, pull the lock back and close it. The spring is too strong, you won't be able to do that. Now you can close it one-handed if you pull the lock back, disengage it, use your index finger, and you can close it one-handed still, but you cannot flick it open and closed like you can with the Mini Griptilian because it is just a manual version. What I mean by that is you open it up, you disengage the lock, and then you can swing it closed like that without touching the blade. You can do that with the manuals. You cannot do that with the open assisted versions. The spring is too strong to overcome. But basically the exact same concept, just no spring this time, but super smooth, zero play, left, right, up and down, very solid lockup, good axis lock, and as I have said, easy to re-engage there. So again, both very good for what they are. If you like assisted open, Mini Barrage. If you like manual, Mini Grip. Pocket clips. I think you're going to be able to tell right away who wins this portion of it. I love the fact that with the Mini Griptilian, they have opted for their deep ride pocket clip. Good job, Benchmade. It's a great deep ride pocket clip. It's going to be tip up, right or left, totally ambidextrous, and fits on many of Benchmade's models. And a lot of people, when they have in the past bought older Griptilians, they will contact Benchmade, and Benchmade is willing to send a few a year to you if you are a Benchmade owner of a different model pocket clip if you wish, which is always a nice feature that Benchmade does. I hope they continue to do that. And in this case, you're going to want to do that with the Mini Barrage because it's the worst pocket clip ever. Not ever, but of the Benchmade pocket clips, it is the worst. Benchmade, I'm talking to you. You need to discontinue the Arrow, in quotes, pocket clip. I hate the look of it. It looks like something else that will not be mentioned. And this is just a not at all a deep ride pocket clip. Now it's the exact same format in tip up, right or left, but it's just going to have a much higher ride in your pocket. So just be aware of that, and there is the option there that you could reach out to Benchmade, and I think per customer they're willing to send a few of different designs out each year. And if you just request a Mini Griptilian pocket clip of the newer version with the loop over design, it will screw right on and be swapped over, and I'm going to do that immediately as soon as I'm done filming this video for you guys because I hate the ride. And here it is for you just so you can see the difference. Invisible on the Mini Griptilian and huge and sticking up on the Mini Barrage. So, Mini Griptilian wins the pocket clip battle. Well, folks, it was not easy. But I got to tell you, at the end of the day, if you were like, bro, you got $153 to spend, which knife am I personally going to keep and which one would I pass on or wait and save up and buy second? Well, I would have to go with the Barrage. The Barrage is my favorite, and the main reason for that is that the blade itself just has a cooler profile to me. I just connect with it visually better, and then the handle is just slightly larger than on the Mini Griptilian, so it just fills out my hand better. I feel like I have better real estate on it. And then if you can get one of those deep ride pocket clips, which I did, now there's really no competition. And for me, even though it is a little bit heavier by about an ounce, I'm willing to sacrifice that for the better handle ergonomics and just the cooler blade profile, in my opinion. And that would be my first choice. Not to say that the Mini Griptilian isn't epic, because it is phenomenal, and Benchmade has outdone themselves in every single way with both of these designs. But I would say for me personally, if I could only have one, I would start with the Barrage and then maybe save up and wait another year for the Griptilian. That would be my opinion and my personal winner for the Battle of the Blades. But ultimately, you guys got to make that choice. I hope this video has helped you out with your decision of building your, EDC systems, and whether or not the Mini Griptilian or the Mini Barrage fits inside the system that you're trying to build. As always, thank you so much for coming over here and checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. It always helps and helps to support what we do here. Check us out on all the relevant social media as well. It's a great way to see what is up and coming. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.